Welcome to the Bridging Broken to Breakthrough podcast. I am your host, Maria Wingard. I share how hope will arise out of our past broken relationships, fractured families, and personal struggles. Come walk a mile with me as we allow Jesus to clean out the mess and organize the rest. Today's episode is titled, A Mini M&M Issue with Femininity, Part 2. I will issue a disclaimer right at the beginning of today's episode because it contains adult themes that would require much explanation for children. So please use discretion, and if they're in the room, it may be a better option for you to listen to this in private first. While there is nothing explicit discussed, there are adult themes that you may not want discussed at this point in time with your child. Quote, psychological safety is built on mutual respect and acceptance, but unfortunately, our culture of shaming and misrepresentation is disrespectful and unaccepting of anyone outside its echo chamber. James Damore. It is amazing what misogynists think of us as females, and that so many are disguised as radical feminists that you don't dare to cross. The feminists of today are not the equality freedom fighters of the suffragette movement. Today, you'll get doxxed and canceled faster than you can even bat an eye just for breathing a word counter to their narrative. In researching, I stumbled across men feminized by women. This search is not for the faint of heart. By wearing women's clothing, men are sissified, and some use feminization hypnosis to become submissive sissies through forced feminization. Quote, believe it or not, feminization will take the weight off of your man's shoulders. He no longer has to be an ultimate provider or play the know-it-all role. That will ultimately be your responsibility while he relaxes. This quote was from one of the Tamer articles. Quote, these days, in a climate where masculinity is seen as more toxic and dangerous than virtuous and heroic, some men are going out of their way trying to earn the privilege of being called a sissy. They willingly put themselves through a systematic process of physical and psychological self-emasculation known as sissification. At its root, sissification is a deeply misogynistic thought process because it implies that there is something weak, pathetic, and humiliating about acting like a woman, end quote. This is an all-out attack on a woman's physical appearance, equality, and femininity. It's the abused becoming the abuser to dominate and subjugate men. This has zero to do with equality and everything to do with destroying biblical egalitarianism. Definition: egalitarianism, the doctrine that all people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunities. Reference: Genesis 1:27, Genesis 5:2, Matthew 19:4, Mark 10:6, Galatians 3:28. Quote, there is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus, end quote. We are one in Christ. I'm not lacking or half, but I am whole as a female. I do not have to be a man in order to be whole. I do not need to act like a man in order to be whole. And a man does not have to be sissified in order to be a female. He doesn't need to be made less than because we are equal and we are the same. Growing up, I absolutely hated being a female because of the cultural restrictions placed upon me. I was trying to navigate growing up in a very old-fashioned traditional home in the middle of school indoctrination from a radical feminist movement, and this was a recipe for disaster. I lived in what I considered a cultural prison called protection while my brothers got away scot-free. Occasionally, my father would take on the fight to let me escape. This bred extreme rebellion until I was of age to be able to do whatever I wanted. As a first-generation American, the daughter of an immigrant, there were huge cultural differences between my mother's upbringing and mine, but this does not mean that today I dislike or disagree with hers as an adult. There is so much validity and beauty to her family-oriented lifestyle that is to be emulated, even while I still disagree with some aspects of it. And as an adult, I can appreciate so much of what she infused into my life culturally. Today, I have a broader appreciation of all cultures because of her life and the cultural diversity she was able to give to me. That being said, as a teenager, all I wanted to do was to escape, have a career, live my life until I ended up pregnant. It's amazing how radical feminists tell you that you can live your life with no consequences, but you are the one who pays the price for their propaganda. I had a decision to make, and life was the choice. It was my body, my choice, until another person with their own separate body showed up inside of me. Then this tiny growing body became my responsibility to safeguard. Biblical femininity has nothing to do with the outward clothing like the sissification methods try to state. It has nothing to do with whether or not I'm strong or soft, but am I actually reflecting the image and heart of God? So today, I'm grateful you decided to come walk a mile with me, your host, Maria Wingard, on the Bridging Broken to Breakthrough podcast. To find out how Jesus bridges broken to breakthrough and to listen to past episodes, please visit hopewillarise.com. And thanks for listening today.